One thing that I found interesting about the play was the fact that the characters also acted as narrators. This is something that I haven't really seen in any sort of play script or media source, so it was kind of interesting to see how they incorporated that into the play. One value that I think that they were trying to impress upon the reader would be the importance of taking care of family. I think this was highlighted in Elliot's efforts to talk to his dad, and it was also represented in his family helping him out with his leg injury, and as well as the fact as when Jenny met his father. Another value being represented would be the idea of honor and respect. I think that this was represented in the fact that Elliot was chosen to give out the first pitch at a baseball game, as well as the fact that he elected to return to Iraq for a second tour, despite his leg injury. One thing that I didn't completely understand was the rock apes that they were talking about. So I looked it up, and it was actually kind of interesting because they still aren't really sure exactly what kind of apes that they were interacting with. They seem to be bipedal, which would be very interesting because humans are considered the only bipedal organisms who rely only on bipedal locomotion. And the apes were also said to be around 5 or 6 feet tall. I think that the play is somewhat stereotypical in terms of like representing soldiers, and because they kind of depicted them as not dumb, but as somewhat indifferent to like feelings of others and stuff, which I guess is understandable considering the amount of stress and everything else that they're being put under. But I think it was especially stereotypical with quotes like "kill Raghead" when he was giving the interview. And to be completely honest, I didn't really find much evidence of them challenging any stereotypes. The word fugue had a few meanings, but I think the one that in particular that they were referencing was a state or period of loss of awareness of one's identity, often coupled with flight from one's environment, and it is associated with some forms of hysteria and epilepsy. I think that this was exemplified by Elliot and many other soldiers somewhat base their identity around the military, and I think he partially did this due to the fact that his father and his grandfather did it as well. But I think it's like the point is brought home when Elliot decides to return for a second tour of duty, because I think they're trying to impress upon you that this is his way of coping with the reality that he's brought upon himself. And I think my two questions are, do you think you'd be able to handle the mental horrors and effects of war? And my second question is, why do you think Jenny uses a garden to cope with her feelings regarding Elliot?